Before Rahul comes up, there's a quick 2-minute video which will, I think, answer some of the questions I'm going to ask him about CG hospitality. So I think we're just going to start with that quickly, and then I'll get Rahul up in a sec. There you go.
Is that music?
Is this still on? Awesome. Yeah, I think so. Well, want to sit next to you? Nice. You get the hot seat. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining, those of you who have. I don't think Rahul needs any introduction, but we are tight on time, considering how interesting a person you are, and we obviously known each other a long time.
I swear I didn't pay him, yeah?
He didn't. He didn't. I got it from the sell side. So Rahul, let's start off. That was a great little intro. Happy to see a little bit of Africa in there, so we'll get to that in a minute. But give us a snippet on how you guys started as a family business, pre-hospitality, and then we'll head into hospitality.
Okay. No, thanks so much, Mark. I really appreciate that. And Matt as well. Our family history goes back almost 150 years back when my great-grandfather immigrated from Rajasthan as a Marwadi family to Nepal. And we started with humble beginnings. My father's, in his autobiography, he writes that he was a small man from a small country with big dreams. And he started small, used to sell radio behind the counter of a shop and textile in those days. And one business with the other, and 25 years back, we embarked on our hospitality journey with our partners, IHCL.
Well, I was going to ask, actually, you got into hospitality 25 years ago,
Yes.
right? What made you move into hospitality?
And coming from a country like Nepal, we are obviously very immune to crisis and immune to change, as they say. Sri Lanka and Maldives that time was going through a very difficult time.
That's where you first went in? to
That's
Sri Lanka?
the first time we went in, and our partners IHCL already had properties there, and it was the time when bombs were literally flying on top of the hotels, and then we decided to, it was an honor for us coming from Nepal to have partnered with IHCL, the Tatas, right? With the 3 hotels in Sri Lanka and the 2 in Maldives. And we've always maintained that our school of hospitality has always been IHCL, and we take great pride in that, and to talk a little bit more. While we are on IHCL, now we are partners with them in almost 17 hotels already, and in 5 countries, and looking at growing that as we move along.
Yeah, it was actually that was my next question. You're answering them before I asked them, which is great. Which is, you know, you've still obviously got an active relationship with them, which is awesome. And I know this session is titled Nepal to the World, but in actual fact, like you said, you started in Sri Lanka and the Maldives. You started outside of Nepal, and then only went back to Nepal fairly recently, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, you know, Nepal has been through its fair share of crisis and turmoil ever since 2000, you know. I mean, that was the start of the hijacking of the IC-813, if any of you remember. Since then, we've had changes in governments. There have been change in the monarchy, as we all know. And stability has always been an issue, almost 23 governments in 24 years in Nepal. But destiny had it that we had to be in some country outside of Nepal, but then we said that it'll be sort of a shameful thing not to be in our own country and be elsewhere. So just 10 years back, we decided to step into Nepal with IHCL again through our Safari Lodge.
Yeah. And but your portfolio now, including Nepal, obviously, I saw there was some numbers up there, which I think are a little bit out of date, right?
Yeah.
You're about 180, 190
85
hotels.
now, yeah.
185 hotels, 10,000 rooms. And you gave me some stats earlier, which is very interesting. Where next for that portfolio? Where do you see the growth? I know you're obviously big in India. Is there still space to grow? I saw your 100th hotel in India was on there.
Yeah. So India has always been a very important market for us. You know, initially we started off in India to look at buying smaller land parcels. This was back in 2006. And we wanted to create a larger portfolio of owning assets itself. But, you know, there was so much of, at that point in time, bureaucracy with the approval process and everything, that by the time you put in the approval and by the time you got it, the whole business dynamic of the market had changed. So then we decided that this game of investment in India specific is not for us. And then we took a plunge with a management company called Concept, which owns the brand Fern, Zinc, and Beacon. And at that point in time, I remember that we were just 18 hotels. This is 8 years back. And now we are adding almost 20 to 25 hotels every year in India, in the mid-market space and the space below that, the budget space. But you know, for us as a group, when you look at all the sectors that we are in, we've always been focused in the frontier and emerging markets before the developing markets per se. And yes, we've invested in some key assets, development assets in Dubai, in New York, for sure, for strategic purposes. But we've felt that the entry into these frontier markets are always far more attractive. And it requires a lot more work to turn around those assets, no doubt about it. I mean, it's been a lot of blood and sweat, more so from where we were 4 years back, and credit for something 4 years back goes to you, because you know that we went through a difficult time. I'm sure that would be the next one you would ask me, but we went through a difficult time, as you know, in East Africa, in Rwanda.
You came into Africa much more than 4 years ago,
Much
right?
before, 10 years back. And we landed into some really difficult situation. I mean, this is one of the lessons you learn coming from another country when you are entering into a completely alien country, about finding the right partners and knowing the right people. And we burnt our fingers pretty badly. And I remember when you came in 4 years back and told me about the 2 Fairmonts in Nairobi and Mara. I mean, it was music to my ears, because it was literally like a reboot to East Africa after having decided that we don't want to be in that region anymore. But risk comes with reward, and obviously it comes with a lot of struggle. We closed that deal 1 day before COVID, as you know.
I know, yeah.
And many people would have thought that we are crazy to have entered that venture. But, I mean, we got a great deal.
Makes for good footage, right? bit of Mara. No, you're right. In fact, it was about 6 years ago we started talking about it, and we closed it 4 years ago, just before COVID, which is brave. I mean, emerging markets is one thing, and you're in 12 countries, right? What type of assets work best for you guys? What do you look for in a deal? Like, how do you structure it?
Well, our growth strategy has always been that we will try not to enter into a market 100% by ourselves. We look for partners locally because, of course, they know the local terrain, they know the local market conditions, and obviously the network locally as well. But we typically like to go into investments never having a minority, and that's what I said we learned with time. And in terms of operations itself, we have
leisure.
well, I would say the whole spectrum. But from India specific, our strategy has been and is towards the mid-market and asset-light model. And we are growing in that segment through our management company itself. But we do look at key investments in markets that we are already present through our CG Corp. For example, we've been present in Bhutan for almost 8-9 years now. And we are opening the 2 luxury Taj properties in March next year. Similarly, now we are opening, we are in the process of launching another brand of IHCL in Dubai itself. So markets that we know, we want to focus on those. And through the asset-light model, we are now only recently going outside of India. Rather, we went outside of India, but then during COVID, we brought it all back. But now, again, we are taking that towards destinations where Indians are going most. And in Indian subcontinent and ASEAN, you've seen a surge of Indian travelers. You've got connectivity from Bombay to Bali to Phuket, and we are looking at properties there as well. So it's more strategic investments towards locations where I would say we are following the Indian traffic to a great extent, no doubt, together with our partners, IHCL. But in India, because we believe there is a huge opportunity, also from the perspective of valuations, right, for management company, and we are adding, like I said, almost 20 hotels a year. Yeah.
That's a lot. I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but there's not that many Tajes in Africa, and there's a lot of Indians coming to Africa.
Well, Taj also, my view is Taj for the past 4 or 5 years, of course, they are in many other parts of the world as well, but I think they made the right decision to focus on India for the past 4 or 5 years, more so, and look where they are today. The strongest brand and the fastest growing brand. And now they're looking at assets all over the world, and especially also in the UAE. So I would say that similar strategy. No one would have guessed that India would have been the story 5 years back, but one took it as a hunch, right? We brought back all our assets which were operating a firm outside of India. But now we are ready to conquer the world, as they say,
And how do you define yourselves as a group? Are you guys a developer, an operator, all of the above, an investor?
I would say we are all the above, but more so investors. That's what we had done right from 1999 when we partnered with IHCL. They're operating all the assets. We are also partners, of course, with other brands like Accor and Marriott as well. So we focus a lot on investment. Even in the Concept Hospitality, which is our management company, it is an operating company, but we are majority shareholders there. But our role, our intent initially, when I said 2006, we bought those assets, was to become an operator. But then looking at how it all emerged, now we are more so investors and asset managers, whereby, let's say we invest with other partners who may not be in the hospitality business. Or let's say partners who are operators but have investment there, but we work closely with them on the asset management side.
And talking about partners, how do you guys, and I think this is valuable for anybody in the room who's investing, and even from the other side, how do you guys find, or how do you find partners in these markets outside of India? And obviously, on the operational and branding side, we know you have partners, but on the local partner side of things,
I would say
events
that
like this.
I'll tell you, it's been initially when we were just starting out in the hospitality space, I would say it was not easy to find the right partners because we were still growing our footprint and we would have to chase people, we would have to run towards people and the right people there. But now, as they say that, we have managed to create some credibility for ourselves where we now have investors who come and reach out to us, which is really helpful because that also shows confidence. And of course, you have to lay out the fundamentals on day one, But that helps a lot.
Yeah, big time. And so you guys aren't small anymore, right?
Thank you.
You've grown from, you said, like not even a dozen hotels 6-7 years ago. Now you're 180 plus. You're growing 25 hotels in India per year. Soon, a lot of new Tajes in Africa. And what is big enough? And what happens next? Where do you go from here?
Yeah, so from a group perspective, like I said, we believe in the India story, right? And because a lot of our footprint is in India, now the next stage for us is an IPO. So we are already making plans to take towards a pre-IPO, bringing in a pre-IPO investor, and then taking the group to an IPO in India itself. And separately, we are also doing that for our management company, which is Concept Hospitality, as I mentioned, because all the growth in the group till today has been organic. We've done all the growth through our internal cash accruals, but there comes a time when the market is very buoyant, there is liquidity, and the valuations that you're able to get in a market like India is phenomenal. And that's what we want to capitalize on. And I believe we are on the right path towards that.
So that's why India, because that was going to be my question, is
Absolutely.
why India of all the places to go public, other than the fact that you have more than 100 hotels there.
Yes.
The valuations are a key part to that.
Yeah.
Oh, super interesting. Well, we're actually out of time, but I don't know if we want to take any generic questions quickly from anybody. Oh, no love. What is your favorite African unique experience? What was the word, Trevor, you used? Authentic African experience, leisure experience.
I think it'll be at the Mara in the middle of the Great Migration when you had the Maasais coming there, right, when you get out of the plane and they are jumping so high and you try to do that, it never works,
That's very cool. Well, we're around, myself and Rahul, for the next couple of days. If you guys have any questions for us, come and grab it. Was there a question? No. Thanks, Rahul.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, brother.
We were on time.
Thank you.